Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the lecture of DRCS. In a DRCS, we are studying earthquake resistance design of a building. So today we are going to study further about the ductility. So before going to start a ductility, we will see what is ductility, right? So the ductility in a structure will arise from a inelastic material behavior and a detailing of reinforcement in a such manner the brittle failure is avoided and a ductile behavior is induced by allowing a steel to yield in a controller manner. Therefore, one of the primary tasks of an engineer designing an earthquake resistance building is to assure that a building will possess enough ductility to withstand a earthquake shaking. Right? If structure is sufficiently ductile, then it can resist unexpected overloads and load reversals. Right? If structure is ductile, then the failure of a structure will not be sudden. राइट इफ डक्टाइल अगर हमारा डक्टाइल मटेरियल होगा डक्टाइल स्ट्रक्चर होगा तो फेलियर सडनली नहीं होगा. It allows the structure as a whole to develop its maximum potential strength through the distribution of internal forces, which is given by a combination of maximum strength of all components. Right. So here you can see two figures, that is a brittle and ductile behavior and a chain analogy for a ductile failure. So we have seen these two earlier, right? What is a chain analogy for a ductile failure and ductile and brittle behavior of failures, right? You can see in this figure. So elongation of the bar will be less in a brittle material, so sudden failure of structure will be there. In a ductile material, the elongation of the bar is long, right? So sudden failure of particular building can be avoided by providing a ductile material in a building, right? So larger structure ductility allows the structure to move as a mechanism under its maximum potential strength and resulting in a dissipation of a large amount of energy. So building configuration must be a simple and regular, and individual member must be designed for a ductility. So let's see how do beam resist forces, right? So beam resist two types of forces, like longitudinal force and vertical force. That is in a beam, vertical stirrups and longitudinal bar are provided, right? A long straight bar, that is a longitudinal bar, placed along its length, and a closed loop of a small diameter bars, that is called a stirrups, that is placed vertical to the rectangular interval along its length, right? So this is the formula of a beam. So beam in a RC building having a two sets of steel reinforcement, as we have said, a longitudinal bar and a stirrups, right? So beam section has two basic types of failures, right? Two types of failure. One is the flexural failure and second one is the shear failure. So what is a flexure failure? So you can see in this beam, right, as the beam sags under the increased loading, it can fail into two possible ways. If relatively named steel is present on the tensile phase, concrete crushes in compression and brittle failure, right? And is therefore undesirable. And if relatively less steel is present on the tension phase, the steel yields first, matlab ki it gives a elongation but does not snap, and a redistribution occurs in a beam until the eventually concrete crushes in a compression. So this is a ductile failure and hence it is desirable. So more steel on a tension phase is not necessarily desirable. The ductile failure is characterized with a many vertical cracks starting from a stretching and beam and going towards the mild depth, right? You can see in this figure, before phase stretches in tension, you can see in this figure. So brittle failure, relatively more steel is present on a tension phase and crushes on a compression, which is undesirable. And in a ductile failure, relatively less steel is present on a tension phase and steel yield first and redistribution occurs in a beam until eventually concrete crushes. So these two parameters are basically important in a flexure failure. The second failure is a shear failure. So a beam may also fail due to shear action. Shear crack is inclined at a 45 degree to the horizontal, and it develops at a mild depth near the support and grows towards the top and bottom faces. So closed loop stirrups are provided to avoid such shearing action, right? Shear damage occurs when the area of these stirrups is insufficient, right? The shear failure is a brittle, and therefore it must be avoided in design of RCB. So now we will see a general requirement that is given in IS 13920-1993. The factorial axial stress on a member under a earthquake loading shall not exceed 0.1 FCK. Second one is that the member shall preferably have a width to depth ratio of not more than 3.3. The width of a member shall not less than 200 mm. The depth of D of a member shall preferably be not more than a 1/4 of a clear span. So these four general requirement we will follow while designing a earthquake resistance building that is given in IS 13920. Now we will see further about the flexure. So you can see in this figure, to avoid this flexure, bottom steel at the supports at least half of at top, and at least 2 bars should go full length of the beam. So longitudinal bars are provided to resist the flexure, right? Required on both faces at the end and on the bottom of the mid length. At least 2 bars go through the full length of the beam at the top as well as the bottom of the beam. So at the end of the beams, the amount of the steel provided at the bottom, at least half of that top, you can see here, right? Shear. So how we can avoid shear? So stirrups helps in 3 ways. First, carry a vertical shear force and resist diagonal cracks. Protect concrete from a bulging outward due to flexural, and prevent a buckling of a compressed longitudinal bar due to a flexural. Ductile detailing of a column and beam is given in a IS 13920. That is given in a clause number 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 and 7.4. So these all details are given in a code. That's why we are not seeing this all detailing, but we will see some of the detailing that is from IS 13920, right? A diameter at least 6 mm but not less than 8 mm for a beam longer than 5 meter, right? Second criteria is given a 135 hook at both end and a 10 times the diameter of extensions. That means 135 degree of a hoop should be provided there. Maximum spacing less than a half of a depth of the beam is required. The maximum spacing less than a quarter of the depth of a beam for twice the depth of a beam from support, right? At the location of the lap, you can see in this lapping, the bars transfers the large forces from one to another. So lap of the longitudinal bars made away from a face of column, not made at a location where they are likely to stretch by a large amounts and yield. So at the bottom of the laps, the vertical stirrup should be provided at a closer spacing. How do column resist earthquake? So column can sustain 2 types of damages. Second, axial flexural, and second one is the shear flexural. So axial flexure is a combined compression bending failure, and second shear failure is a brittle damages and must be avoided by providing a lateral ties. So column now we will see some detail about the column. As I have said, the details of a column is given in a 7.2, 7.3, 7.4 and 7.5. 4 close in IS 13920. So closely spaced horizontal close types helps in 3 ways. As we have seen earlier, the carry the horizontal shear force included by a induced by earthquakes and thereby resist the diagonal shear cracks. They hold together the vertical bars or prevent them from excessively bending outwards, and they contain the concrete in a column within the closed loops. So the ends of a tie must be bent at a 135-degree hooks, and such hooks and prevent opening of a loops and consequently buckling. In a column where the spacing between the corner bar exceeds 300 mm, the additional links with the 180-degree hooks for a ties to be effective in holding a concrete in its place and to prevent a buckling of vertical bar. So you can see this type of ties should be there, right? Height of the confinement zone, so that would be a larger of D, h by 6 or a 450 mm. Spacing of a tiles in a CZ, so that would be a less than of 3 by 4 but should be a greater than 75 mm and less than 100 mm, right? So this criteria would be fulfilled for a spacing of tiles. For spacing of tiles in a lap zone, that is a criteria that would be less than a D by 2 and that would be a greater than 150 mm. Spacing of ties in a rest portion, spacing of the tie should be less than D by 2. For a longitudinal reinforcement, a lap slice shall be provided only in a central half of a member length, and it should be proportionate as a tension spice. Hoops shall be provided over the entire spice length at a spacing not exceeding 150 mm center to center, and not more than 50% of the bar shall be spliced at one section. Transverse reinforcement detailing. The design shear force for a column shall be a maximum of these two. First one is a calculated factored shear force as per analysis, and second is a factored shear force given by some methods. So calculation of design force in a column, that is given in a IS 13920. So this detail is given in a code, but we are not going to use while calculating a design, because we don't have to calculate this type of examples in this chapter. But in a future you can use this detailing while designing of this structure. This is the column and joint detailing. So you can see all the detailing are given in IS 13920. So this detailing you have to use while you are designing some of earthquake resistance building, right? This is the provisional of confining reinforcement in a footing. This is the joint reinforcement. These all are provided specially at a joint of column and detailing. Area of a cross section of a spatial confining reinforcement. So area of a cross section edge of a bar forming a rectangular hoop to be used as a spatial confining reinforcement shall not be less than this equation. This equation is given in IS 13920. So you can see this area of a cross section for a spatial confining reinforcement. Detailing of a reducing a short column effect. So provide a spatial confining reinforcement in a form of a closely spaced tiles throughout the height and into the column above. So you can see this is the spatial confinement reinforcement that is provided in a short column and regular column as well as column supporting. So reaction from a discontinuous stiff member such as the walls shall be provided with a spatial conforming reinforcement over their full height. This reinforcement shall also be provided above the discontinuity for at least development length of the largest longitudinal bar in the column. where the column is supported on a wall, and this reinforcement shall be provided over the full height of a column, and it shall also be provided below the discontinuity for the same development length, right? There are a cross section AST for a bar forming circular hoops of a spiral to be used. Special confining reinforcement shall not be less than area of the cross section bar. S is a pitch of a spiral or a spacing of hoops. Diameter of a core measured to outside of the spiral or hoops. FCK is a characteristic compressive strength of a concrete. Fy is a yield stress of steel. Ag is a cross area of the column. Ak is the area of a concrete core. H is the longer dimension of a rectangular confining a hoop. Improper lapping of a column bars. So the pictures show a damage concentration in a region of a bars lapping because of an intersection between the overlap bars and a concrete for a load transfer. The overlapping section suffers a higher level of the damage, and this interaction is further coupled with the lack of a stirrups, which has led to buckling of a bars and loss of a concrete, right? Beam column joints. So in RC building, a portion of a columns are common to beam at their intersection are called beam column joints, right? Repairing damaging joints is difficult, and so damage must be avoided. You can see in this figure that is a beam and column joints. So under a earthquake shaking, the beams adjoining a joint are subjected to a moment in a same direction. Under these moments, the top bars in a beam and columns are pulled in a one direction and the bottom bars in opposite direction. So these forces are balanced by a bond stress developed between the concrete and steel in a joint region. If the column is not wide enough, or if the strength of the concrete at joint is low, there is an insufficient grip of a concrete on the steel bars. So in such circumstances, the bars slip inside the joint region and beam lose their capacity to carry load. Further, under the action of above push and pull forces at the top and bottom ends, joints undergo a geometric distortion, and one diagonal length of the joint elongates and the other compresses, right? So this is the detailing of a beam and column joint. Column that we have also seen in earlier slides. Column width. So column width at least 20 times of the diameter of the largest beam bar should be there. Close the loop steel ties in a beam column joint confine a concrete in a joint, so it also resists the shear force, reducing a cracking and crushing of a concrete. You can see in this figure there are some stages while providing a horizontal ties in a joints. Stage 1, that is a beam top bars are not placed but horizontal bars in a joint are sketched up. In a stage 2, top bars of a beam are inserted in a beam stirrups, and a beam reinforcement cage is lowered into the formwork. And in a stage 3, ties in a joint region are raised to their final location, tied with a binding wire, and column ties are continued. In an exterior joint, the beam bar needed to be anchored into a column while ensuring a proper gripping, as seen in a figure. And in an interior joint, a beam bars need to go through a joint without any cut, and in a joint region also these bars must be placed within the column bars and with no bends, as seen in this figure. This is the poor practice, and the straight bar is given here. This is a good practice. You can see bar provision in a column and beam joints. External beam column joint. This is the detailing of external beam column joint. Now we are moving further for a method of improving a ductility. So various method of improving ductility are as under: structure layout should be a simple and regular. Offset at a junction of a beam and column and offset between a two floor must be avoided. Second one is the beam should be designed as a WRC beam. For example, a compression reinforcement should be provided in this beam, right? In a RCC frame structure, design of a beam and column shall be such that inelasticity remains only in a beams and column remains elastic. So sufficient shear reinforcement should be provided so that a shear strength remains higher and a flexure strength and non-ductile shear failure can be avoided. To increase the ductility of the member, closed stirrups or a spiral should be provided at a point of bending moment. Splices and bar anchorage should be sufficient enough to prevent a bond failure. Beam and column junction should be monolithic. Footing band, plinth band, seal band, lintel band, etc. should be provided in structure. Portion between a footing beam and a plinth beam should be covered with a brick masonry. In a frame structure, shear wall shall be provided near a staircase. Beams should be designed as under reinforced section. Right? Junction of a beam and column and a slab should be strong, and instead of a load-bearing structure, frame structure should be designed to increase the ductility of a structure. Now we will see one figure, one example that is maybe asked in a GTO examination. Draw and detail a type of qualitative reinforcement detailing of a two-span reinforcement concrete continuous rectangular beam of a dimension 230 by 500 mm as per IS 13920-1993. So here dimension of a beam is given, and ductile detailing of beam is given in a IS 13920 close number 6.3.5. So first of all, we have to see all the detailing should be fulfilled. This detailing: hoop spacing for a distance 2D near a support, so assume a effective cover 50 mm, so our small d would be a 450. So our criteria for this is this should be less than a d by 4, that is 112, and greater than 8 times of smallest diameter, that is 128 mm, and less than 100 mm. So इन तीनों में से जो लेस देन वैल्यू है वो हम लोग लेंगे. So here we will provide 8 hoops at a 100 mm center to center for a distance 2D. So the first hoop shall be a distance not exceeding a 50 mm from a face of the column, and this figure is given in IS code. So we have to draw this kind of figure and we have to show our dimension, that is a 230 by 500, and diameter of the bars required. This all detailing are given in a IS code, so you have to follow that code and you have to provide a detailing of these bars as required. सो फ्रेंड्स, यहाँ पे हमारा ये चैप्टर ख़त्म होता है. अगर आपको कोई क्वेरी है, कोई डाउट है, तो आप मुझे डायरेक्टली कॉल कीजिए. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर लिसनिंग दिस लेक्चर. थैंक यू एवरीवन.